Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to High Top Sports Oregon. This show is, of course, brought to you by BetUS. And the Ducks, I will say, have their first intro to the Big Ten as they have played Michigan State on Friday night, 9 p.m. on the road at Michigan State. Again, they played UCLA, which was technically their first Big Ten matchup, but we all know that wasn't the real introduction into the Big Ten. This is your true first Big Ten play with the Ducks against Michigan State. We're going to talk about the keys on offense and defense for the Ducks and the keys on offense for Michigan State and the keys on defense for them as well. I think Oregon should have no issues handling business today, but we're going to talk all about that. Cody, the professor, what are your thoughts before we dive into the knickknacks of this game?
Yeah. So I think it's a team that Michigan State that they can beat anybody on any given week. I know that they are on a 2-game skid, but one of those being Ohio State, and then obviously Boston College. Boston College, a very, very good team, well rounded. Ohio State is a juggernaut, so it's kind of tough to see where they're at. They have some really, really good pieces. They don't have any superstars, but they have some guys that could possibly at home possibly give some big issues to the Ducks.
I'm excited to see this game because I've said it. I think I said in the last show, this is going to be the first taste of what Oregon could look like versus Ohio State, right? Because we'll have a little bit of comparison of what Ohio State did with Michigan State and how Oregon will be. And that leads us into our first little bit, which will be the keys on offense for Oregon here and seeing what this offense can do. Of course, with Dylan Gabriel, who we talked about, kind of where he sits with the Heisman. With how much talent there is in this Heisman room right now, will he be able to elevate his game even more than what it already has been this year? Tez Johnson, someone who's been exciting to watch this year. And of course, Jordan James, a running back, see if he can get their wheels running it quickly.
Yeah, for sure. Dylan DG, all he needs to do is make the easy throws. They're not gonna put him in a predicament offensively, to where he's gotta make super hard throws. This is a well equipped offense with speed everywhere. Just get to your playmakers, let the playmakers do the job. Michigan State D has seemed to let some tight ends go up the seam. So that's something with Ferguson. You're going to want to go ahead and collect on that. And then they have struggled a little bit with letting wide receivers get open across the middle. So he needs to do that. This offense is going to be perfect for him. And then Jordan James, I watched a couple games, and if he can bounce it outside, he can really, really, really do some damage to that Michigan State defense. And then also he needs to pick up the blitz because they're going to blitz to get to DG, try to rattle him. He's got to pick them up.
We had Quitshawn Junkins from Ohio State. He ranks 34th, and Jordan James ranks 35th in rushing. So again, we'll get a good feel. Quitshawn is averaging 8.3 yards to carry, while Jordan James is 6. Again, you're starting to kind of how are these backs comparing to other Big Ten backs? That's what I'm looking at here. Keys on defense for Oregon, which I kind of made it early on. My point was Oregon struggled early in the first couple of weeks. They really kind of have found their rhythm the last couple of weeks here. But keys on defense, we've got Derek Hammond, who that was somebody who Derek was talking about. Again, a Kobe Savage transfer is somebody that was supposed to be elite for this DB. The secondary is something that I've been really excited to see elevate for the Ducks. And then Bryce, the linebacker there. What are your thoughts on this, Cody?
Yeah, for sure. Bryce, he might get eaten up a little bit. He is not he's not the fastest linebacker in the world. Might get eaten up, but he has to cover those tight ends coming across the middle. He needs to be aware of where Childs is, because Childs is I mean, he has the escapability of Jaden Daniels of last year. He is not the thrower of Jaden Daniels. I'm telling you, he has the escapability of Jaden Daniels and that speed of some of the other elite running quarterbacks that we've seen in the past. And he will absolutely torch you if you do not keep him dead to rights. And he needs to watch out for running backs coming out of the backfield catching passes. That's the big thing with him. And then the big man, in the defensive line, you have got to have you have got to keep your integrity in the lanes. You got to have lane integrity, because Childs will absolutely torch you for 30, 40, 50 yards a tote. He prefers to do that actually. So if he can do that, it'll be a long day for this Oregon defense. And then when you do get your hands on him, he is absolutely slippery. You got to wrap up and you got to get the sack. Kobe Savage, you just need to take out their one big playmaker right now, and that's Foster. The best thing that Foster does is he comes back and works back towards Childs. Childs is always looking for him, and that's how you get those busted 20, 30, 40-yard plays across the middle deep, because Childs likes to roll right. They'll put Foster on the left and let him work that way and just wait for the big play to happen. So Kobe's got to keep keep Foster right there in his hip pocket.
Now the Ducks are favored by 26, I believe we said, on BetUS. If you go over to betus.com right now and use the code YouTube150, you will get back 150% on your first two deposits and 125 on your third, up to $2,000. So the Ducks have done well covering. They did not cover last week, I don't believe, against UCLA, but the week before that against Oregon State when Derek the Duck laid the hammer down, they did. 26 points. I want them to cover. Again, we here as the fans and everybody kind of uses those covers as gauges of where they sit as a team. They've played Boston College. Boston College is not the Boston College of old. It's a great team. Lost to that team 23-19. And of course, Ohio State handled them 38-7. I would like the same similar score, if not 45-7, with Oregon and Michigan to cover that spread with ease. But let's talk about Michigan State and their keys on defense. Jordan Turner, linebacker, Chris Bulge, I believe, their edge, and then Malik Spencer at DB. Coach?
Yeah, so Jordan Turner, he flies all around the field. He's gonna watch out for the tight end Ferguson leaking out on those seam routes, and then the running back coming in the screen game. If he can do that, he's gonna have a heck of a game. He is a sure tackler, a big hitter. And then he needs to watch out for spy DG for when the plays break down. Now, DG is not the world's best runner, but he will torch you for 30 yards. We've seen it this
He's got
season.
wheels, boys. He's got wheels.
Chris Bogle, former UF edge, and man, he's a good one. He can get pressure. He has a couple sacks this year. He has to be the difference maker on this defensive line if they're going to win this game. If they're going to keep it close, he's got to be able to stuff the run coming around the edge with Jordan, and he's going to have to be the guy to set the tone. And then Malik Spencer, the DB, you're going to have your day cut out for you. You have Tez Johnson, but you got three other. You got to be aware that any of these wide receivers can burn you at any given time on any play. Watch out for the rub routes in the red zone, because they like to do that. And you got to shut down Tez Johnson as best as you can. You're not going to take him out of the game completely, but he's going to get his 30, right? Like Kobe does, like all the greats do. He's going to get his 30, but you gotta do what you can do to try to stop the other guys. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, Michigan State, that's going to be their strength, probably more likely their defense. They haven't really blown anybody's socks off outside of Prager State, where they won 40-0, thankfully. And then Maryland, again, squeaked by 27-24, 19 on Michigan and Boston College, and then a whopping 7 against Ohio State. And their schedule right now lines up Oregon, Iowa, and Michigan, and Indiana. This could turn into an ugly
murder row of the Big Ten.
Indiana ain't no joke either, man. This could come into a skin here for Michigan State. Keys on offense for these boys got Aiden Childs, quarterback, Lynch Adams, and then Montoria Foster, wide receiver. Coach?
Yeah. Listen, Childs is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I said it just like the Kansas State quarterback. I'm going to tell you this. If he can stop the stupid throws, the bad throws, and the turnovers, boy, oh boy, watch out. He can be an absolute game changer. He's got to get the ball out to Lynch. Lynch is their speed back. They have another downhill runner in Carter. I like Lynch a little bit better. He's the guy he's the home run hitter. Got to connect with the tight ends. A couple of those were wide open tight ends. He gets a little antsy with his feet, and he forces throws, and they're behind or they're in front, and that causes most of his picks. And then he's got to use his legs, but actually slide. He takes a lot of hits. You can't do that. You got to be around for your team. But this kid's a dynamic runner, and he is slippery. He will burn you. I don't care if it's 3rd and 23. It's 3rd and 3 to him. He can make it happen. So Lynch Adams, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Lynch Adams, one cut and go. Get the chunk yards. Oregon has been one of those teams that have let some chunk yards go on kind of on that edge of the defense. You got to get out there, and then you gotta help. You got to catch the passes out of the backfield. That's going to help your quarterback if he's struggling. And then Foster, use the double move, because I'm going to tell you, this Oregon defense has speed everywhere and very aggressive. But if you can get them to bite, you got him right where you want him. He's also, when they play zone, he's got to sit down in the soft spots. Run blocking for Lynch and Carter on the edge. You got to do that. That's the keys for this offense.
I messed up. I thought this game was at Michigan State. I don't know why I thought that it was, but it's actually at Oregon. Their first true game on the road's at Purdue. Because again, UCLA, I'm not counting that as a true Big Ten on the road. I know
Yeah.
that it is, but I'm not counting that a true Big Ten environment, right? So Purdue for Oregon, then Michigan. That one's going to be a true test. Wisconsin at the bounce house. Wisconsin is not what they should be with losing, especially with losing Van Dyke. But they've got most of this at home. Ohio State's at home. Illinois is at home. That's going to be a fun for Oregon coming up. Maryland should be fun. They've got a nice, fun, explosive offense. Washington is not the Washington of old, but I know Oregon will have a good time with that game, as that is a good old fashioned Pac-12 rivalry. So this game is looking to be like an exciting one. Again, a first true test to play Michigan State still at home in their comfort at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday night should be a great kickoff. We'll have the call-in show more likely on Saturday, given the late night
Yeah.
kickoff once again. And Ohio State at 7:30. Where's that big noon kickoff for the boys? You know what I'm saying? Well, come on, give it to us, boys. I'm feeding for a little Gus Johnson on the call, but we have to continue to wait for that in the Ducks.
Yeah, I would say Ohio State would be the big noon kickoff,
Nope,
maybe.
7:30.
Oh, okay. Well, no.
Purdue's
All
8
right.
p.m. No, no,
Golly.
we're not getting any
Ducks
love around here.
I guess the Ducks like to fight at night, all right? So, it's
Yeah,
it's one of those things.
I love it. Well, boys and girls, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. Of course, this show is brought to you by BetUS. I'm Sheldon. That's Cody the Professor. We'll see you boys in the next one. Peace and love, baby.